This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 11th day of March in the year 2019. Here is what we're tracking tonight. Overshadowing his own presidential candidate, opposition leader and general secretary of the PPP, Jagdeo, waded into the coalition government over its governance in the past 4 years as he once again urged an early election date. Mr. Jagdeo was at the time speaking at the death anniversary observances for founder of the PPP, late President Chetty Jagan, at Babu John in Berbice yesterday. The PPP General Secretary urged his supporters to toughen up their position against the coalition government after the 21st of March. He said government members should be chased out of communities when they come to visit.
When the ministers or Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're gonna be illegal. Say to them, you're illegal. Free up the country, you're undemocratic. They're gonna face a different situation right across the country. We're gonna get teams of people to picket them everywhere in their homes and their offices, everywhere else.
Jagdeo said the coalition government appears bent on holding on to power even after the passage of the no-confidence motion, and it is only with the support from his party that the government could remain in office.
We're not accepting any delay in the elections. Let me make it clear, if you're gonna house out registration until 2020, the People's Progressive Party will never go back to the parliament to extend the life of this government. And they need us to extend the life of the government, or else the government becomes illegal.
According to the opposition leader, his party remains confident of victory at the next elections, and all supporters need to ready themselves for the campaign and for those elections. The party's presidential candidate Irfan Ali told a large gathering that while many have been asking questions about his whereabouts, he has been in communities getting work done and supporting his party's people. He said he has been doing what the late Dr. Chetty Jagan would have been doing had he been alive today.
Now is the time when we must all give a little more for our freedom. We must care a little more for our people. We must sacrifice a little more for the greater good of our nation and future.
Ali, who was elected presidential candidate with the full backing of Jagdeo, spoke about his readiness to take on the highest office in the land, even as he remains before the courts on multiple fraud charges. More news coming up in just a moment.
All across our nation, Guyana, we see it in your lives. The future growing even stronger. All eyes on Guyana's skies as the voices of our people rise again. GBTI, Guyana's pride is in your eyes. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
It's knocked away from Young Huang.
Yo, why you gotta get away from the credit, buddy? I recommend that you from blah blah. Let you watch the game, but it's not you that buy back the credit when it's done. Buy back because she money from five.
Activate the GTT Fab 5 plan today. For only 5,005, you get free unlimited calls to 4 of your closest family and friends, 5 gigs of data plus 250 text messages, and your Fab 5 friends can call you for free. GTT Fab 5.
Wait. So who we putting as we Fab 5?
Yes.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Welcome back. The Guyana Press Association, in a two-page statement issued yesterday, is making it clear that it will hold the opposition leader Jagdeo accountable for any harm against any media worker in wake of the resurgence of his attacks on the media. In its statement, the Guyana Press Association said it has documented the attacks by Mr. Jagdeo against the media over the past several months and warns that his continued attacks have been encouraging threats to the lives and livelihoods of media professionals in Guyana. The GPA referred to a recent flare-up between Jagdeo and senior journalist Nazima Ragabir when he referred to the reporter's questions regarding a statement he made as silly and stupid. The GPA said it has also noted instances over the past months in which Mr. Jagdeo has called media houses fake news, biased news, and government-aligned, and his attacks will be followed up by postings on the Facebook pages of his party, attacking the same reporters. The media group reminded that this is not the first time that Jagdeo has had outbursts against the independent media, and noted that while he served as president, he referred to journalists as carrion crows and vultures when they questioned him or carried reports in the media that he did not find favor with. Jagdeo's presidency was also known for the banning of a journalist from covering events at State House and the President's office, the removal of state advertisements from the private newspapers, the suspension of television license for CN Sharma, and the granting of radio license to several of his close friends and party groups. The GPA said it would like to remind all political leaders and their parties that journalists ought to be able to conduct their work without fear or intimidation, and they be able to do so freely. Still in the world of politics, the recently formed Civil Society Forum, which has brought together a number of religious and non-governmental organizations, is calling on the president and the opposition leader to recognize their responsibilities to honor the Constitution and uphold the law. The statement comes against the backdrop of the two leaders not being able to reach any agreement on the elections and the extension of that period for elections in keeping with the Constitution. Following the passage of a no-confidence motion, elections should be called within 90 days or at a time agreed to by two-thirds of the National Assembly. The 90-day timeline runs out on March 21, and the opposition leader has not yet agreed to an extension in the government's life. The Guyana Elections Commission has said it cannot hold elections during this month of March, and July will be the earliest timeline by which elections could be held. The Civil Society Forum said the president and the opposition leader must hold themselves accountable towards finding a solution to the growing crisis. And the same group in a separate statement chastised President David Granger over his recent statements that he has not been properly guided by the Elections Commission to set a date for elections. The president met with GCOM last Friday and called on the commissioners to get over their issues and differences, as the commission needs to provide guidance on its readiness to host elections. The Civil Society Forum said the president should not be throwing that responsibility over to the Elections Commission, since, according to the group, he is empowered to name a date for the elections. President Granger has repeatedly reminded that the Elections Commission is an independent constitutional body, and he does not intend to interfere with its work. He has said it is the commission that has to indicate its readiness before any date could be named for elections. Let's tell you now that First Lady Mrs. Sandra Granger is encouraging more persons to speak out against all forms of violence, especially domestic violence. The First Lady made the call last evening as she delivered the feature address at the International Women's Day Concert and Exposition, which was hosted by the Ministry of Social Protection and the Canadian High Commission.
We celebrate the women who blazed the trail for recognition of equal rights and justice for all. They too recognize that, quote, better the balance, better the world. For if women hold up half of the sky, it stands to reason that that strength, that grit, that determination should be both visible and recognized. Hence the call for balance or gender parity.
Mrs. Granger said women must be treated as the equal partners in the home.
Let us ensure that our legislation against domestic violence is rigorously enforced so that we can one day boast of zero tolerance for domestic violence. It is a given that women and girls drive development. Their equal access to training and participation in all facets of development translates into progress for all. Indeed, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are in sync with the concept of gender parity.
The First Lady also reminded that Guyana celebrates the implementation of policies which ensure that health services are available to adolescents and out-of-school youth, and that teenage mothers can receive counseling services and advice on sexual and reproductive health. The Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Lillian Chatterjee, said the equality of women and men is the cornerstone of everything done by the Canadian government. She hailed Guyana's strides towards achieving gender parity.
So now in March, we women have our day. So what's Women's International Day all about? Well, many of us welcome this day to both celebrate and to send a powerful message that we want to live in a world where women and girls have access to participate in all spheres of life.
The event, which was hosted at the Everest Ground, featured singer Nalia Blackman and several local acts, and also had an exhibition by a number of non-governmental organizations. This evening, Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman is urging the Rusal Bauxite Company and the Labor Department to find a way forward. Over the weekend, he visited the striking workers of the Russian-managed bauxite company in the Upper Berbice River area. Production at the company has been suspended as the workers continue to block the riverway, preventing barges from accessing the company for bauxite shipments. The standoff has entered its third week as the company refuses to rehire 61 workers it fired over their strike against a 1% increase in their salaries. The government and several trade unions have been urging the company to rehire the workers. However, the company has been making some demands of its own and has not been budging from its position, effectively suspending its operations. During the meeting over the weekend, the striking workers expressed their dissatisfaction with the way the company has been treating them and ignoring their concerns with working conditions for years. During the meeting, the minister, Raphael Trotman, told the workers that he will continue to urge both the company and the Ministry of Social Protection to find a path forward. He said the situation is hurting families, hurting workers, and ultimately hurting Guyana's economy. Officials have said that 2 persons have died as a result of the Venezuelan boat accident yesterday in the Winey River. The passenger boat with 20 people on board burst into flames suddenly as it headed to Charity early on Sunday morning. It is suspected that 2 of the persons were pitched from the boat as it exploded. 1 body was recovered on Sunday. 13 persons were rushed to an Essequibo hospital with severe burns to their bodies. Some of them were forced to swim to shore, while others held on to the floating parts of the vessel as help was heading to them. Well, police investigators are probing 3 fatal accidents that occurred over the weekend in 3 different parts of the country. Early on Sunday morning, a young man who was in the tray of a truck became the latest road accident victim when during his attempt to jump from the truck, he fell onto the roadway and was crushed by the truck's rear left wheel. The incident occurred around 3:30 a.m. on Sunday at Annandale on the east coast of Demerara. A police report said the youth, who remains unidentified, had tapped on the truck's roof to get the driver to stop, but he may have jumped before the driver brought the vehicle to a halt. He was rushed to the hospital in the same truck, but was pronounced dead on arrival. On Saturday in Linden, a young porter met a similar fate. In that Saturday afternoon accident, the porter, 28-year-old Jamal Anthony, had disembarked the truck to pay the toll. As he attempted to jump back on the moving truck, he reportedly lost his grip on the vehicle and fell to the ground, being caught between the lorry and its trailer. The driver was unable to stop the truck in time, and the porter was run over by the trailer, which crushed his head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. On Friday night in Berbice, 23-year-old Ryan Jagdeo was reportedly driving his motorcar at a fast rate along the Experiment Bath public road when he lost control of the vehicle and it toppled several times. He was pulled from the vehicle and rushed to the New Amsterdam hospital, but was pronounced dead on arrival. Road accidents continue to be the leading cause of death in Guyana. There have been a number of campaigns to get road users to be more cautious on the country's roadways. Across the Region is coming up next.
Guyana! Extra Beer presents the youngest and the hottest dancehall artist, Alkaline.
We make it pass all of the drama. When them all pull up themselves, we keep it calm. I feel like my can conquer the world now.
The Conqueror.
You can't stand with Vendetta.
Live on Easter Saturday, April 20th, 2019 at the Guyana National Stadium, Providence. Music by DJ Magnum, Gully Russ, and Diamond, David Hyde, DJ Fresh, DJ Damien, and Andre, Bobby Kush from Jamaica, Super Ray one-man band, Alkaline Live. Alkaline Live. Easter Saturday, 20th of April, 2019. Early bird tickets $2,500. After $3,000. Stage front $15,000. Stay tuned. Tickets out soon. Guyana National Stadium, Providence.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87, 89, and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance, and high mileage, visit Guy Oil today. Choose Guy Oil Super 95. Guy Oil, we are everywhere.
Get ready to ride it, ride it. Ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild. Catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong. Come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave, 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 wave.
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong, and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Across the region right now, Jamaican government officials say they are not surprised by the latest advisory issued by the United States Department of State warning its citizens against traveling to Jamaica. The Tier 2 travel advisory issued by the U.S. government on Friday warned that violent crimes such as home invasion, armed robberies, and homicides are common within the island. For the U.S., a Tier 2 warning means travelers should exercise increased caution. Similar warnings have been issued for Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, and Turks and Caicos. In neighboring Venezuela, the government there has ordered schools and businesses to remain closed as a power cut drags into a fifth day. The opposition says at least 17 people have reportedly died as a result of the blackout. Residents in the capital of Caracas told the BBC of their growing despair. Each hour that passes without power in Venezuela brings more havoc and stress to a country already on the edge, the BBC reports. Pro-government motorcycle gangs have been roaming the dark streets enforcing order at gunpoint, while there were sporadic episodes of looting amid the desperation. And finally tonight, international news. The flight recorders from that Ethiopian Airlines plane that crashed on Sunday have been recovered by investigators. The devices recovered from the crash site are the Boeing 737 MAX 8's cockpit voice recorder and the digital flight data recorder. The plane crashed 6 minutes after takeoff, killing all 157 people on board. Several airlines have grounded the model following the disaster. There were more than 30 nationalities on board the flight, including Kenyans, Ethiopians, Canadians, Americans, and Britons. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.